Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to the movie review, aka after I saw this. This movie is 2 weeks old, but I kind of had a reason to, skip out on this one for a little bit. But hey, I had some time, so I decided to go see it. See why people are saying it's the worst thing to come out this year. After seeing it, I've seen far worse, but I can definitely see where people are coming from. Megalopolis. Now, in this film, I literally cannot talk about the plot of this movie without looking up a guide. So good thing I have my laptop right here to explain the entire thing for me. So, yeah, it is a Roman epic set in an imagined modern America. The city of New Rome must change, causing conflict between Caesar Catiline, played by Adam Driver, who is a genius artist who seeks to leap into a utopian, idealistic future, and his opposition, Mayor Franklin Cicero, played by Giancarlo, that one guy from Breaking Bad, who remains committed to regression status quo, perpetuating greed, special interests, and warfare. Torn between them is a socialite, Julia Cicero, who is the mayor's daughter, whose love for Caesar has divided her loyalties, forcing her to discover what she truly believes humanity deserves. If you didn't read what the plot was about and you just decided to go in with an open mind, yeah, you'd have absolutely no idea what you're even watching because, yeah, when it starts off at first, it gives you some hints on what to expect. It's showing in these characters and they have their own stories to them. And yeah, they give you all this introduction at first, but when it gets to the halfway point, it just doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, I feel like the movie is just throwing all these different things in your face. As I was watching this movie, it was really something for me to wrap my head around because this isn't really the type of movie where you can just sit back and relax. Because with films like The Godfather, I forgot to mention, this film's directed by Francis Ford Coppola, of course, the master behind the Godfather trilogy, or at least the first two Godfather films. Third movie, yeah, it wasn't anything spectacular, what it really should have been, but hey, there's a director's cut for that film. So, yeah, the fact is that he was continuing to make more movies, even to this day, making something new. I was all like, oh, yes, please. Francis Ford Coppola is making a new movie. The fact that Martin Scorsese has been making hits, still continuing to make hits throughout the years. The fact that Ford Coppola is going to bring his own new film to life. How could they mess that up? Well, there are a bunch of reasons. Like I mentioned before, the movie is just really hard to get into with all the amount of stuff that it manages to bring out. Like, there are some times once in a while where it kind of feels like a documentary a little bit, where they have all these like specific parts with some brief narrations put in. Lawrence Fishburne's also in the movie as well, who kind of feels a little bit like his character from The Matrix, which kind of just feels a little bit more like I was watching The Matrix when he was on screen, which was probably the most, he's probably the most interesting character just due to the fact that he reminded me a lot of his character from The Matrix. But when it comes to the other characters, I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? I don't think everything about this movie is bad. I mean, the performances, Adam Driver, Aubrey Plaza, Plaza, and even Shia LaBeouf. That's right, Shia LaBeouf is in the movie, and they're all really good, though their characteristics really don't play out super well. I mean, Adam Driver as Caesar, I don't even know what entirely his character is supposed to be like. I mean, of course, he does tend to get the most screen time, obviously, but there are often times when it comes to his character, well, of course, he wants to be an artist, he wants to bring his visionary world to life, and I won't lie as well, the visuals are stunning for the most part. There are some moments of noticeable green screen here and there, but, there are even some times where it kind of looks like it's something that, I would see from a Marvel film. And the fact that this film is on a $100 million budget, yeah, you could see how the box office numbers played out. Because nobody has really been seeing this film, and the people who did see the film have just been talking about how awful it is. And yeah, I can definitely see where they're coming from, because all these moments that just come into play, I feel like the movie is just trying really hard to be just random and having all these other different moments. And sure, people who did really like it will probably just say you didn't understand the film, but it's not your fault. It's really easy to get lost into this film. And while there might be some people that might fully understand what's going on, but the movie doesn't really have a whole lot of rewatchability to it because the movie just felt flat out frustrating. And the movie does have a plot to it, but most of the time I feel like it was just about nothing. And it's not that good type of film that's about nothing where you can just watch it and just be completely entertained, because sometimes the movie just feels flat out boring. I mean, the only times in the movie where I thought the movie got entertaining was where some people do the stupidest things, and there are moments that feel like they have no point to them, and they just come off as kind of goofy too. Like, there's this one scene where Adam Driver, there's like this scene where he has like arms behind his back, and he's just like, ooh. And there's a part in the movie where I feel like it randomly starts turning into a music video for absolutely no reason. Like, this movie is bonkers, but this is not the good type of bonkers. It's that frustrating type of bonkers that just messes with your mind way too much. And it makes you feel like you're laughing more at the movie than with it. It's over 2 hours long. It's actually the exact same runtime as Joker Folie à Deux. So, yeah, if you want to waste 2 hours and 18 minutes, you have two options. This or Joker Folie à Deux. And honestly, I thought this film was a little bit worse than that film, because at least I kind of understood where the film was going. As this, I feel like this is just a film that Francis Ford Coppola just made for critics to appreciate, despite the fact that critics really haven't been too nice to this film. I feel like this is a film in his vision and how he wants to see this whole thing rather than how other people will see it. Basically, what I'm trying to make out here is that I feel like he made this film for himself and not really the audience, because we all know how much of a talented director he was throughout the years with Apocalypse Now, The Godfather, like I mentioned before, Bram Stoker's Dracula. He was a fantastic director at the time, but when it comes to properties like this, imagine if this movie was your introduction to Francis Ford Coppola. You would have no idea he directed The Godfather or any of those other films like I mentioned. The fact that this might be some people's first introduction to him, because of course he's been making films since the 70s, yeah, it would be kind of hard to believe. The movie just feels like an absolute visionary mess from beginning to end. The most that made sense from the movie was how the movie opened up. But after that, I feel like the movie just tried to be as random as it possibly could. Oh yeah, also I should mention that Caesar has these abilities to control time, but he rarely ever uses them, as I don't really feel like they tend to go anywhere throughout the film. I feel like, I mean, sure, Ford Coppola might have a point to it, but most of us aren't really going to get the point, because at the point, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't even paying attention throughout a lot of the movie, because, well, I was just mostly looking on my phone, and I know I'm one of the, you might see me as one of those rude audience members, but literally almost nobody was in my theater, so I could just sit in the very back and nobody would complain at all, and nobody was really complaining either, because I feel like they were bored throughout most of the movie too. Because I kind of was. The only times, like I mentioned before, that I thought the movie did get entertaining was when those silly bits happened. But in the end, guys, Megalopolis, yeah, the criticisms definitely are valid here. It's an absolute visionary mess that might be visually appealing to look at for most of the time. It might have some really solid performances, but it's still not enough to hide the fact that its story practically makes no sense, though I kind of understand where the concept behind it was going, because it takes place in a modern, like, Roman time in a modern America or something like that. But the movie plays out a lot like a documentary when it comes to, explanation and stuff like that, and not like an actual movie that, you could just sit down, watch, and wrap your head around it. Because, yeah, I feel like with this film, Francis Ford Coppola has kind of lost his thunder at this point. And that's an absolute shame too, because, yeah, I'm just more frustrated with this than just mad, because, wow, yeah, this movie's kind of a mess. Megalopolis, I know many of other people have made this joke, but yeah, it's pretty much people are just going to end up calling this Megalopolis. I mean, the movie has been flopping. Like, seriously, did they think it was going to make more money than The Wild Robot? Because, yeah, I don't think so. So, yeah, it's bad, but it's not the worst thing I've seen all year. I have seen far worse movies to come out this year. Tarot, Strangers Chapter 1, Madam Web, Borderlands. Borderlands, I think, is the worst thing to come out this year so far. So, yeah. Same with Joker. I think all those movies are worse than Joker. I did think Joker Folia was slightly better than this. Not by a whole lot, but yeah. On the bright side, I did pick this up just before seeing the movie, and I've heard this is actually supposed to be really good, so I cannot wait to play it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.